Rush. It's an email I just got. Emails running the gamut, folks. Today, I don't have the slightest idea what I'm doing, according to the emails. No matter what I don't know what I'm doing. Here's a sample. You have spent the past 2 days making fun of, diminishing, belittling, trashing all the things at the convention. I hate the rhinos only a little less than the Democrats, but last night was a delightful show of all the things you've been talking about for 22 years. It was all about conservatism, individualism, free markets, marriage, equal opportunity for everyone, even immigrants, especially immigrants. Is it perfect? No, but they made a great effort last night. It's painful to listen to you trash it. They were giving a summation of your 24 years on the radio last night. I thought that the whole thing, every time I heard someone speak, this person listens to Rush, that person listens to Rush. And I'm shocked and stunned to hear you making fun of it. What? I don't know. But anyway, and plus, there are emails on the other side. You keep going, buddy. This is exactly right. Somebody's got to speak truth to power. It's all over. The reaction, there's no, it's a good thing I have a steel spine. I'd be one of these schizo swing voters. Anyway, what I was going to say before the top of the hour break, about Governor Christie, people, I think, judge some of these speeches on expectations. And the expectations of Christie were no holds barred. This guy's going to drop the hammer. It's going to be great. And then word leaked out, no, it's not. He's going to spend a lot of time talking about himself as a Republican governor in New Jersey and how he straightened things out there. And it's going to be an autobiographical speech. And I heard that previous, and that's interesting. Then I saw something. It's fascinating. This 31%, this statistic, 31% of people who watch TV don't watch TV. They don't get their TV from a TV set. They get it from Hulu, from YouTube, from Vimeo, Facebook, Twitter. What they get, what they watch, are highlights. And so in the case of Governor Christie, a lot of people who were really looking forward to Christie last night have seen what? They've gotten to know the Chris Christie at town hall meetings, or the Chris Christie responding to media people, hammering these guys, which everybody loves. And so the expectations that a lot of people had for Christie's speech last night obviously were unrealized or unmet. I got up today, Byron York has a piece, why Ann Romney's speech worked and why Chris Christie's didn't. So the analysis of this is all over the ballpark. You have questions how to respond. Okay, you have Obama out calling Romney a murderer, essentially. You have his campaign's calling Romney a felon. Hates dogs, commercial with Romney's dog on the roof of the car and so forth. Now, there are those who believe, and I want to ask you, there are those who believe that the way you respond to that, the way you respond to people who are accusing you of being inhumane, or being cold-hearted, you hate the poor, you hate the way to respond to this is simply show up and have your family around you and speak without profanity, and it will expose the accusers as the liars they are. That is an ongoing theory. I just heard that theory pronounced by a learned wise man on Fox. And it does sound good. It does sound, in a fair world, it's exactly the way it would work. Let's take Romney and Obama. On the one hand, we have Obama calling Romney essentially a murderer. We have the allegation that he might be a felon. The business about these just scratch the surface. The attempts here to make people hate Romney based on ads that the Obama people have run, hundreds of millions, over $100 million in ads. The way to respond to it is show up at your convention and have your wife go out and make a speech and be lovable and normal, and have the kids there looking normal, and have as many normal people as you can, and speak about love and devotion, flag, family, and you win, because you're obviously not a murderer. You're obviously not this. And all you have to, you don't have to do anything to respond to it other than show up. If only that worked. I've had trust and faith that would work for me. I've had it said, and I hate to make this personal, I really do, but it may help illustrate here. Without specifying instances, many of you have been around here for years, you know of the various attempts that have been made to portray me in various inhumane, mean-spirited, racist, sexist, thuggish ways. And I come here every day and do what I do, and I'm none of that. Has it changed any of those people's minds? No. In fact, they don't care to have their minds changed. They're going to make the allegation regardless of the truth, particularly the Obama people, when they got nothing else to rely on. They can't talk about themselves positively. They can't. What they've done is so bad, they can't lie about it. They can't portray this economy as roaring. They can't portray the recovery as happening. They can't portray the country as on the right track. They can't lie about anything. So all they can do is level these accusations. I'll use George W. Bush for, let's just say 6 years. For 6 years, the media and the Democrat Party set out to destroy George Bush. After 6 years, George Bush's approval numbers were in the 30s. George W. Bush, not even close to anything he was accused of being or doing. George Bush was on television as president every day. The theory is that just being human, just being who he is, just going on television, being president, being well-spoken, all these things, that alone, all you have to do, and you beat him. Did it work? Did they keep Bush's numbers out of the 30s? Were the Democrats, it took them 6 years, but they convinced the people of this country that we were in a recession when we weren't, that we were losing the Iraq War when we weren't. They lied about Petraeus, the surge, all of this, Afghanistan, you name it. They were lying about the economy. They were lying about unemployment. They were lying about inflation. They were trying to make everybody in the world think Bush didn't care about them. Hurricane Katrina, Bush didn't care. They have the picture of him from Air Force One flying over New Orleans. They had, you tell me it didn't work. And somebody tried to tell me that Bush, with a crafted strategy of not replying, a crafted strategy of not responding, tell me it worked. How can it be said to have worked when they succeeded in getting his approval numbers down to the 30s? They were so happy, Wolf Blitzer spent 2 hours reporting it. We have played for you the montage. Now, in what we would all like to believe is a fair and just and sane world, accusing somebody of killing another man's wife wouldn't last 5 seconds. And yet it remains something the Romney people think they've got to deal with. The same thing about Romney doesn't care about the poor. The same thing with the war on women. They believe they have to counter that, which was a large portion of the purpose of last night's convention. Woman after woman after woman after woman came in. I loved it. And I thought it was great. And I've got... Nikki Haley was awesome last night. Fabulous speech. Nobody saw it because it was prior to prime time and it was nowhere near the networks. Arthur Davis was over the top fabulous, and he did ream Obama. I don't mean to be leaving anybody out. We've got sound bites. And Mia Love was just fabulous. It was superb. I'm only discussing this notion of how you deal with this because 24 years, you know, people call here, Rush, why don't the Republicans, or why do the Republicans, or why aren't the Republicans? I don't know. I never have known. But I did hear just 20 minutes ago that the way to deal with this stuff is show up and have your family there and a dog and speak about the flag and be normal, wonderful Americans, and you win. And maybe in this case they did. I hope so. Don't misunderstand. I just know that in real life, in the case of George W. Bush, for example, didn't work. And arguably still hasn't. I mean, how else can Obama get away with blaming Bush? I mean, we've seen the polling data, how many people, it's in the 40s, maybe close to 50%, still think that Bush is the architect of this problem. Poor old Obama just inherited a big mess. It's unusually high number of people who believe that, even after 3 years. The decision has been made not to try to counter any of that. But when you all boil this down, it seems like at every turn, whoever the Republicans of prominence of the day happen to be, because of all this, they have to go out of their way to prove themselves normal, when they already are. They already are normal. They're average. They're harmless. They're none of what they are alleged to be. And the party of abnormal and the party of genuine, mean-spirited extremism gets away with making these allegations, and they are never on the defensive about any of it. Anyway, I got to take a break here. We'll do that. Your phone calls are coming up. Some highlights of some of the really good speeches at the convention last night as well, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.